guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new I Don't Work Here Lady content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled I Don't Work Here Lady, Will You Marry Me? This was 3 years ago. It was December. I remember because it was the day before my birthday. I was in a big box store. One that combines a grocery store with clothing, electronics. You get the picture. I saw a cashier I knew standing at the end of her register on her cell phone. How she was getting away with it I don't know. When I saw a woman who was clearly vision impaired tried asking the cashier for help but kept blowing her off. I heard her say go ask someone else. Now I am a Boy Scout at heart. Mom, Dad raised me to help others in need if I see they need help. I walked up to the lady and asked if there was any way I could help. She said yes, she wasn't used to the new layout since they remodeled. From experience in high school, a girl I had a huge crush on who was visually impaired to hold my arm my elbow out so I could guide her. She carried the hand basket and would tell me what she needed. We talked and she told me how in school she had a nice friend who did the same for her. I said he seemed like a decent guy. She told me he was kind of short and had a squeaky voice. But seemed shy. I helped her with her shopping and when we were done, we went to the register and the cashier who had blown her off said hi Ricardo, how are you today? Don't hi Ricardo me. This young lady tried asking you for help and you blew her off, just stood there yakking on your phone. Just ring us up. The young lady said wait, Ricardo? Did you go to GW High? I said yes I did. Ricardo, you don't recognize me? Then it hit me Sandy? Is that you? Sandy said yes, she didn't recognize me or my voice. I had gotten taller. And you told me your name is Rick. Yes, my name is Rick, short for Ricardo. Puberty hit me like a TSN tsunami after high school. I was a real late bloomer. We talked for a while because I didn't recognize her at first. She had how should I say this? Blossomed into a beautiful woman. I confessed I had a crush on her in high school and was crushed when I heard a guy was taking her to the prom. I was trying to work up the courage to ask. Ricky, that guy who took me to prom. That was my brother. He didn't want me to miss out on it. I laughed and said ah crap. If I wasn't a chicken crap asked you sooner. You could have told me no sooner. She laughed and said actually I was hoping you would have asked. I didn't know you worked here. Yes, here comes those infamous words from my mouth. I don't work here. Sandy said you don't work here and you helped me? You always were a sucker for a damsel in distress. We exchanged phone numbers and dated. And 1 year to the day in December, I asked Sandy to marry me. She said yes, we are now married and very happy. I may not have taken Sandy to the prom. But I went better. I took her as my bride. The next story is titled Karen Yells at Me, so I got some revenge. I was walking to, insert ambiguous 5-pointed shape here, market because I was going to get stuff for cake, and I put in my earbuds, both ears, and I got to the baking section, and knocked over 5 things of packaged cake mix while reaching for the frosting, because I have terrible coordination. I was picking them up, and I guess I didn't hear this lady behind me because earbuds, and she freaking pulled me up. She started yelling at me. It went sort of like this. EP, entitled person. Don't ignore me when I'm speaking to you. If you've looked at my past posts, you might think but you're 14 you don't look like an employee. First off, I'm tall. Like, 6 feet. And second off, I have long hair. Like, imagine Mirage from Apex Legends, like, that front bit of his hair, but all over my head, and enough of it was covering my face so you couldn't see it too well. So, tall, you can't really see my face. You might think I'm older than 14. She was saying things like, EP, if I'm asking for help you help me. I guess she heard my music because she kinda went off. I was holding the earbud that I took out kind of close to her. I was listening to People Equals Crap by Slipknot. EP, are you listening to devil music on your job? If you know the history of Iowa, the album, based around when it came out, you know that it's just adding salt to the wound. EP. Manager. Yes, she yelled that. I remembered something I saw on Reddit. If I remembered the username, I would give credit, but I don't. Then the manager came over and asked what was wrong, so I said, me. I'm sorry sir, my mom has early onset dementia and Alzheimer's, I have to take care of her, it won't happen again. EP. Wait, no I mean. Come on mom, we need to get your meds, to manager. Sorry for the disturbance, she's having a hard time. Manager. No, it's fine, have a nice day. To Karen, you too, miss. The manager walks away, Karen opens her mouth to speak. Me. Sorry granny, have a nice day. She huffs and walks out, I get my cake stuff, pay and leave. I felt satisfied. Like when you get to throw a knife at General Shepard's face in MW2. If you read this far, genuinely have a nice day, see you. The next story is titled Karen Follows Me into the Men's Restroom. A few weeks ago I was visiting my local big box bookstore, looking for good clearance items before the store closed permanently. The dead mall it was attached to is being demolished. The store has no dress code but the employees do wear lanyards, and I wasn't. So I was browsing around my preferred sci-fi section when I realized I needed to use the nearby restroom. So I headed in that direction, which happened to also be next to the mid-store customer service counter. Karen notices me, positions herself directly in front of me, and blocking my path to my urinary destination. I don't know why you don't keep that desk staffed, but I really need your help finding my book. Are you going to help me or not? Not, I say, remembering the urgency of my business, and I step around her with a variation of I don't work here, continuing to my destination, thinking that will be the end of the encounter. It's not to be. I hear her voice rising in pitch and volume, on its way to full Karen Banshee as she literally follows me into the men's room, and I'm convinced she was about to grab my arm and pull me around to face her. Being conscious of social norms about public exposure, I made it into a stall and locked the door for privacy. That didn't stop her from knocking on the door and threatening to get me fired, before she heard the really solid stream hit the water and, I'm convinced, realized for the first time what it was she had done. I heard her embarrassed sounding squeak, huff, and she hightailed it out of there. I finished my thing and washed my hands, and came out to witness her being escorted out of the store by a properly lanyarded employee. I only caught the tail end of the conversation where Karen stated she was never coming here again. And the employee had a classic response, neither am I, we're closing. The next story is titled At My Wit's End with Parents Blocking My Driveway. I live next to an elementary school in NY and IDK what to do about these people anymore. Everyone in my house has been late to either work or appointments due to lazy parents parking in front of my driveway. We talk to the school every single year, and they send out notifications but it's only ever a temporary solution. A few weeks reprieve at best. I've tried confronting people but someone new will do it the next day. We try putting cones out but they will park in the street in front of our driveway. It's almost like some people are being vindictive. Honestly, I wish I could throw eggs or something at their cars, but then I would also be breaking the law. And, simply for context, my family has owned this house long before the school was built. I know that doesn't mean anything, but just saying we didn't buy a house near a school without considering pros and cons. The next story is titled Karen Gets Put Down by a Soldier. So I, 25ym German soldier, was shopping some food for dinner at the local supermarket. Usually I stop there 2 to 4 times a week on my way home in full uniform. That is why often some elderly persons ask me to help them with things like getting them something from the top shelf or putting them a 6-pack of 1.5L water bottles in their cart, which is no problem for me at all, and often I ask them if they need help with putting it in their car, cause it's no big deal for me. Now to Karen, it was one day when I helped an old grandma putting some heavy groceries in her car, and after I finished I moved back to mine when I heard a lady behind me with that typical Karen voice, now that you're done you can help me shopping. Me, who is irritated cause I am dressed in full uniform, says politely, no sorry, I can't help you, as you can obviously see I don't work here. That was not the correct answer. She gets louder and said, I pay taxes so you work for me, that is somehow true, but no, and I said that to her and started to move over to my car. That is when I felt a very hard grip on my shoulder, and out of reflex I grabbed her arm and slammed her on the parking lot, which caused her a big bloody nose. After a lot of screaming from her and a large conversation with the shop staff and some surrounding PPL who called the police, who looked at the CCTV, I pressed charges on her for assaulting me, and she although got banned from the shop. The next story is titled I Got Reported to Management for a Company I Don't Work For. Happened a few years ago. Friend and I decided to hit up GameStop to see if there was anything worth buying. I just happened to be wearing a polo shirt and had a lanyard around my neck because I had just left the office. This kid comes up to me in the Xbox section and asks me if a certain game is available for PS3. He must have been about 12, Knowing a fair bit about video games, I happened to know that yes, this title was available on multiple consoles. I went ahead and answered him in the affirmative. Yes, this title was available for PS3. He simply says, "Get it for me." I pause and look down at this kid. "Excuse me? Get it for me, I want to buy it." I tell him, "How about you go get it for yourself, the shelf is right there." And point off into the distance. I start to turn away and he forcefully demands again that I get him this damn game. I went ahead and kneeled so that I was eye level with him and told him, "If you want that game so bad, walk your little ass over there and pick it up, I'm not your idiot." Kid runs off and gets his mom. My buddy and I are having a good chuckle at this. We get our games and head off to stand in line. While we are making our way through the line, here comes the kid again with his mom in tow. This GameStop is attached to a bookstore, so I guess mom decided to let GameStop babysit her little hellspawn while she sneaked off to look at 50 Shades of Lame. Mom is throwing a crap fit at the front, saying that some employee told her child to walk his fat idiot ass over to a shelf and get a game himself, and she demands that said employee is fired. Right about now my buddy and I are stepping up to the register to pay for our games while mom and her kid are looking for said employee. The kid looks up at me and goes, "That's him." Mom just explodes on me with a ton of vitriol. She's going to have me fired and blah blah blah. Meanwhile my buddy and I are cracking the duck up. He's telling me crap like, "Oh no, you're going to get fired dude," or asking the person ringing us up if we can have my employee discount before I'm terminated. This circus is only causing me to laugh harder, which in turn is making her even more angry. In the midst of me on the verge of tears from laughing, this lady losing her crap, my buddy goading this woman on further and screwing with the GameStop employees asking for my employee discount. The manager comes up front and asks what's going on. Lady explains how I was rude to her son and refused to do my job. How I used foul language at her child and I was very unprofessional, she wanted me gone, etc etc. Manager looks at me, looks back at this lady, at me, back at lady, and tells her, "Ma'am, he doesn't work for GameStop." Dead silence. My buddy then speaks up, so I take it that's a no on his employee discount? The next story is titled "That's My Husband, Not a Shuttle Driver." We were on vacation and stopped on the Canadian side of Niagara Falls. We were trying to get in line before it got busy. The plan was my husband would drop me and my daughter off to get in line, then go park the rental car and join us. As he lets us off out front, an elderly woman approaches us. I'm a pretty friendly person, so I smiled at her and she started telling me she and her friend were German tourists who were separated from their group. Concerned, I looked around to direct them to the help ticket booth at the falls check-in. Me. "Oh, let's get you some help." German. No, he will take us to our hotel, less than, pointing at my husband, greater than. Me. "Wait, what?" "No, he's going to park the car so we can see the falls. This is a private car." German. "Just take us to our hotel," waves her friend over and heads towards the car door. "Our hotel is just up there, he will take us." Me. "Ma'am, this is my husband and our rental car. We just arrived last night and do not know the city. We are here to see the falls too. He is not driving you anywhere." German. "How rude, he must. We are not Canadian." Me. "Well, we aren't Canadian either. I'm sure security can help you get a taxi, or you can call your hotel for their shuttle." German. "I have no phone and know that will take too long. I am not paying. You are so rude. We are guests in this country and paying a lot of money for this trip." Me, to my husband, "Just go now, leave." Me, to her. "Ma'am, we too are visiting this country and paying a lot for this trip. We are not driving you anywhere. Good luck." German lady continues to scream how rude and awful we are as we walk away. Random people are now looking at my daughter and I like we did something wrong. I did get security to go check on her. The security guard reported, she had her phone out and calling the hotel for their shuttle. She completely waved him off and said they were fine. The next story is titled "I Am Not Your Uber. Or Your Minicab. Or a Hackney." Last weekend we went to visit some friends in North London. We took my wife's car as my EV would need 2 charges on the way, and with young kids it's just a faff we could do without. Her car is a model that I now know is very popular with various types of taxi driver in London, as it's a hybrid, and exempt from the London congestion charge. We left Islington at around 9 p.m. on Saturday evening, heading southwest towards the M25, M3 junction. Kids asleep in the back, with privacy glass, so you can't see in. At literally the first set of traffic lights we get to, someone tries to hail me. I drive on. He looks upset. 2 minutes down the road, we're about 7 to 8 cars back at some more lights, and 2 girls come skidding over on their strappy high heels and pull at the rear door handles. Luckily I always keep them locked. Unluckily, they then bang on the glass and shout open the door. Which wakes up my now terrified 4-year-old son. I open my window a tiny crack and shout back I'm not a taxi. Yeah, I know. We ordered an Uber. It says here, black Prius. As she points at her phone. This isn't a Prius, and I'm not your Uber. I replied. The traffic cleared and I drove off. Thinking the madness was over as we got to more major roads with fewer pedestrians. My wife has managed to calm my son down and he's nodding off again. We're on a wide dual carriageway, about 4 lanes across, doing the speed limit of 40 miles per hour when drunk man runs across and puts his hand out to stop me. It's only about 20 past 9 by this point. How he's this drunk, I don't know, but he's run across 4 lanes of traffic to hail me. I have to hammer pretty hard on the brakes. Not quite an emergency stop scenario, but pretty close. Again, I crack the window an inch and shout get out of the road. Nah mate, you're my minicab, yeah? Cab for Steve? I'm not a taxi, sorry. He's moved round to my window now, so I can just drive off. As I do, he bangs the window behind me again. Didn't wake up the boy this time, but really pissed me off. Now considering renting a car next time we go up to London to avoid the confusion. The next story is titled I Do Work Here Lady. Black Friday. This is actually an experience my grandma shared with me. Grandma is 62 and works at an outlet store that's fairly popular in our area. They can wear whatever business casual attire they like there and don't put on their name tags until they clock in. She had to open on Black Friday. They had a crowd waiting at the door. She tried to politely make her way inside and someone said hey. There's a line for a reason lady. Wait your turn. There was no line, just a crowd milling around the door. Grandma said sorry, I actually work here. I'm going to go open up real quick and I'll see you inside. As she pulled out her keys. Apparently this received a sigh, eye rolls and zero cooperation. After repeating excuse me, I work here. Excuse me. With her keys out as she wove her way to the door someone else literally leaned against the door blocking it until she reached around them and put the key in the lock. Finally she gets the door open and as she's trying to get in they all start trying to push in past her. The lights are still off inside at this point. She has to shout excuse me. We open in half an hour. You'll need to wait. And manages to get the door closed and locked behind her. No one apologized after seeing her inside working later or acknowledged their mistake. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.